Our next presenter is Mo Mamarian from Electrical and Computer Engineering, the Adaptive Systems Lab, right? Good.
Hi, my name is Mo Mamarian, and I'm the founder of Soft Robotics. And at Soft Robotics, we enhance the manufacturing performance of production lines by providing robotic arms that can, in low cost, assist human workers with repetitive manufacturing tasks. Since the early 1900s, production lines have advanced dramatically. There has been great advancements in manufacturing and robotics technologies that have made our day-to-day consumer electronics and cars a reality. However, believe it or not, 90% of manufacturing tasks are still not automated and are performed by human labor, and robots have not been able to help with this. And we are asking why. Well, first we need to look at the global market for manufacturing industry and realize that 90% of manufacturers are small to medium-sized manufacturers with 500 or less employees. And for these guys, for small to medium-sized manufacturers, conventional automation just doesn't make sense. And that's because economically, these guys are looking for short return of investment periods. And practically, they need humans to be present in production lines. And that is because they're relying on human intelligence, human dexterity, in order to do many of the tasks in their production lines. And with conventional robotic automation, we don't get that. They're too expensive to come up with a reasonable return of investment period, and too dangerous to work alongside humans. So that's why at Soft Robotics, we want to introduce a low-cost robot that can safely operate alongside humans and assist them with repetitive and heavy lifting tasks in production lines. Now, this is a concept in robotics that has been around for a while now, and it's called collaborative robotics. In fact, collaborative robotics has introduced a market of its own. It's a small market, but it's about $100 million. We estimate about $100 million right now, and it's expected to grow by tenfold to about $1 billion in 2020. The biggest player is Universal Robotics with about 70% market share, and next in line is Rethink Robotics, which is a startup based in the United States. Now, the big problem with these companies, though, is that they're using motors to power their robots. And motors were the very same reason that made conventional robots unsuitable for human interaction, because they're just too unsafe. And these guys have to come up with workarounds in order to make their robots safer and hopefully cheaper in order to have collaborative robotics. But they have to introduce expensive sensors, write software that is very sensitive to errors, and they have to introduce mechanical systems that are very complex, high weight, and do not provide the flexibility that is required for human-robot collaboration. And what we are saying is basically, why not just put motors aside and move on to a better technology? And that's when we want to introduce our soft air-driven muscle technology. As you can see from the videos, they provide motions very similar to the motions of the human finger, which is curved and when integrated correctly, can mimic various joints of the human arm. The arm that you see here is a very, it's inherently safe, it's low cost, and it's low weight. And the inherent safety is an important factor because it's achieved without any sensor, it's not relying on software, and it's not requiring complex mechanical systems. I've just started this company and have actually just got accepted to Velocity Foundry, which I'm very happy about. And in this path, I'm also getting advice from my technical advisor, Professor Daniel Kulish from the Adaptive System Labs. And a great friend of mine has been advising me on business side of things, trying to help me understand the market better. Thank you.
I'm going to be brief on this one, Mo. Because you just joined Velocity Foundry, my colleagues Peter Hoyce and Mike Kirkup have told me about this, and they loved it, and now I do too. This is a great idea you're working on. I think this is fantastic. You pitched very well. I really took a lot out of the presentation. You've got an 800-pound gorilla, though. This company that's already got a 70% market share, to a point that we heard already from Murray, you're going to need to niche bust here. There's going to be some applications that you are going to be absolutely best at, and I think that's the opportunity that you're going to have to exploit. But I'll pass it off to the other gents.
Thank you.
Very passionate and compelling presentation.
Thank you.
I think, though, from my perspective, what you showed us looked like the first 5 minutes of a 10-minute presentation.
Exactly.
Because, right, I finally, after 5 minutes, got what you wanted to do and probably why, but I have no idea whether it's going to work.
Yep.
I have no idea how you're going to make money at it. I have no idea what your specific target markets. I mean, you could get part of the way there if there was, your video would show, the poor incumbent crushing some person's neck or head or something,
Exactly.
while your product, at least in an animated version, would do the same task without any harm to the person, right? I mean, something like that, because otherwise, the rubbery thing flipping back and forth, I can't tell how that's going to assist a small manufacturing line,
Yeah.
right? What kind of markets are you going after? Do you have any idea how you'll manufacture your robots and costs and margins and things like that?
Well, the market is specifically small to medium-sized manufacturers, which are very not automated. And the reason we want to go for there is because there are like 80,000 manufacturers just in North America. And so that's a very highly potential market for us. In terms of manufacturing, there's definitely a lot of engineering has to be done in terms of mass production. Well, we're not talking a lot of units. Still, it's not in thousands per year, but it's definitely in hundreds per year. So we have to have a proper mass production method that we have to come up with a little bit later down the line, where our prototypes get accepted by the customers, and then we can move on to manufacturing.
So I guess just one follow-up question. So when you say mass production, then I get the impression that you can build hundreds of these, whatever these are,
Yeah.
and the same robot will do multiple different things in multiple different factory settings. Is that what you're...
Well, that's the idea. That's the hope. Yeah, the whole thing is that these are adaptable systems, right? They can adapt to different repetitive tasks that are required in various manufacturing lines, right? And the reason I said mass production is because we are trying to keep costs down. That's one of the key factors that we are trying to clinch on. And if we want to do that, we're hoping that we can have higher quantities. That's one of the key things that we probably, like Universal Robotics or Rethink Robotics, is not concerned too much about, at least at this stage.
So just to present your value proposition, I wouldn't have worried too much about the actual video of an actual prototype. I would have liked to see an animation of what you might do compared to a robot, like I said, not crushing somebody. And the other is showing that the same robot can do 2 or 3 very different things. I think in an animation that would be useful.
Yep, thank you.
I thought the presentation was very good. How do I start? I don't think I've often said this, but you're underestimating the market. It's actually much bigger than what you think it is. And I say that just because I have some experience in the robotics business. I set up some robotics boards, companies. I think it's a really, basically your notion is pneumatically driven robotics, right? And I think that's a platform that has a lot of upside potential. I'd be very interested in talking to you about it. It's an area I know reasonably well. And I think it's really, really smart to target the SMEs. That is a market that robotics has been not anywhere, has basically been unknown in because of the points you brought up. But it is an area that needs a lot of, or has a lot of potential and that sort of thing. So it's not going to be easy. It's complicated and all that kind of stuff, but you're on the right track. You're really on to something.